How Strange New Worlds Obi-Wan improves Nichelle Nichols. Uhura explained by DS9 Star Trek. Deep Space Nine's Nana Visitor explains how Star Trek Strange New Worlds giving Uhura and Obi-Wan Kenobi improves Nichelle Nichols' Uhura in Star Trek, the original series, releasing October 1st. Visitor pens Star Trek. Open a channel. A Woman's Trek. Her new book looking at the numerous influential women in Star Trek. Nana interviewed many female Star Trek actors and creatives, as well as real-world astronauts, scientists, and soldiers who were inspired by the diverse women of Star Trek. In Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Celia Rose Gooding plays a younger incarnation of Nyota Uhura, who will become the communications officer embodied by Nichelle Nichols in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Beginning Strange New Worlds as a reluctant Starfleet cadet, Uhura gains a mentor in LT. Hemmer, Bruce Horak, who instills confidence in the young Nyota. Hemmer's tragic death towards the end of Strange New Worlds Season 1 devastates Uhura, but Nyota carries on. Strange New Worlds gives Uhura a backstory and depth that Star Trek in the 1960s and 1980s never afforded Nichelle Nichols. Star Trek DS9's Nana Visitor explains how Strange New Worlds changes Nichelle Nichols' Uhura in an excerpt from Star Trek Open a Channel, a Woman's Trek shared exclusively with Screen Rant. Nana Visitor explains how LT Hemmer becoming Uhura's Obi-Wan Kenobi parallels how the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a mentor to Nichelle Nichols in real life. Dissatisfied with her limited role on Star Trek, Nichols initially intended to quit, but a chance meeting with Dr. King convinced Nichelle to stay because Uhura on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise was an inspiration to Black people. Read Visitor's excerpt below. I noticed something in the first season of Strange New Worlds that I hadn't seen before on TV. Chief Engineer L.T. Hemmer, played by Bruce Horak, was created to be a mentor to Uhura. She is a new cadet who isn't sure Starfleet is her life's path. And Celia Rose Gooding's performance makes seeing Uhura enter the bridge for the first time in uniform a powerful moment. Uhura is finally getting the attention and care she always deserved, and Gooding plays her with a sweet, open manner, a sharp intellect, and like Nichelle, a beautiful singing voice. It's interesting to watch Uhura in the original series with this in mind, that a male Ernar was, as Horak himself put it, a kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi to Uhura adds a dimension and a bittersweet history when you see Nichelle on the bridge. It's also a lovely nod to the fact that the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was himself a mentor to Nichelle Nichols when she wanted to leave the show. Hemmer encourages the young Uhura to go on in Starfleet too. He shows her the importance of keeping her heart open, even when there is inevitable pain when you do so. Now, the original series is Uhura seems like a human who did the hard work of evolving when she faces down the perils of a life in space, not simply someone who had the correct emotional makeup for the job. This is such an important lesson. There isn't always a clear and easy path to commitment, and there is always a steep learning curve at the beginning of every career. Evolution is a personal process as well as a societal one, and it isn't always a breeze. As Nana Visitor points out, LT Uhura was fully formed on Star Trek, the original series, and her character was never given a backstory or fleshed out beyond what was required for a particular episode or movie. Strange New Worlds has given Uhura the character depth Nichols never got, and the lessons and growth Celia Rose Gooding's young Nyota experiences ripple into Nichelle's Uhura. Combined, they form a complete picture of who LT Uhura is. The world of Star Trek has always been rich with history and a vast array of diverse characters that have captured the hearts of fans for decades. One of the most iconic characters in the franchise is Lieutenant Nyota Uhura, portrayed by the legendary Nichelle Nichols. Uhura was one of the first Black characters on television to be depicted as a professional and a member of a spacefaring crew, a groundbreaking moment in the 1960s. Over the years, Nichols' portrayal has been celebrated for its strength, intelligence, and grace, making her a role model for generations. However, as the Star Trek universe has evolved, so too has the portrayal of its characters. In the 2020s, Star Trek Strange New Worlds has redefined familiar faces with new performances and interpretations, providing deeper narratives that better align with contemporary values and sensibilities. One such reinterpretation is the portrayal of Uhura by Celia Rose Gooding in Strange New Worlds. This new take on the character, combined with the influence of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, is a perfect example of how modern storytelling can improve and expand upon the legacy of the original series. The DS9 star Avery Brooks's take on character evolution. Avery Brooks, who portrayed Captain Benjamin Sisko on Star Trek Deep Space Nine (DS9), has been a significant figure in the Star Trek universe, not only for his role in DS9, but also for his insight into the evolution of the franchise's characters. Brooks has often discussed how Star Trek has continually evolved to meet the needs of its audience and stay relevant in its portrayals of race, identity, and humanity. In various interviews, Brooks has expressed admiration for the original Star Trek and its bold choices, particularly in how it broke barriers by showcasing a black woman in a leadership role. But he also recognizes the limitations of those early portrayals. Brooks has noted how modern Star Trek allows for a more nuanced exploration of character development, including the expanded role of women, especially women of color, in the franchise. He points to Strange New Worlds' Uhura as a perfect example of how far the franchise has come in this regard. Gooding's Uhura is a character who not only holds the same iconic position as the communications officer aboard the USS Enterprise, but is also given more screen time and a more developed storyline. Gone are the days when Uhura was relegated to one-dimensional roles, often limited to her interactions with Captain Kirk and Spock. One of the most significant ways that Strange New Worlds builds upon Nichols' portrayal is by giving Uhura a more pronounced backstory and deeper emotional arc. This modern iteration of Uhura is far more than a mere symbol of progressivism in the 1960s. Instead, she is a fully realized character, grappling with her past, personal relationships, and the weight of her role as a Starfleet officer. As Brooks has pointed out in various discussions, it's important that Star Trek continually reevaluates and expands upon the legacies of its characters to ensure that they resonate with today's audiences. Obi-Wan Kenobi's influence. A new lens on mentorship and legacy. In a key episode of Strange New Worlds, Obi-Wan, the show introduces themes of mentorship, legacy, and the passing of wisdom between generations. These themes are central to Star Wars' iconic character Obi-Wan Kenobi, who serves as a guide to Luke Skywalker in his journey to become a Jedi. Obi-Wan's role as a teacher and protector influenced the narrative structure of this particular episode, as the show draws parallels between Uhura's own mentorship journey and Kenobi's relationship with his apprentice. Just as Obi-Wan is depicted as a wise, seasoned mentor in Star Wars, Strange New Worlds' Uhura follows in that mold by taking on a mentorship role for the younger generation. Celia Rose Gooding's Uhura is shown guiding others, imparting knowledge, and setting an example of leadership, while also maintaining her own sense of curiosity and growth. This concept of mentorship is important in broadening the character, especially considering how the original Uhura was often shown as part of the ensemble, but rarely took center stage in leadership roles beyond her technical expertise. In this way, Strange New Worlds not only improves upon the original conception of Uhura by giving her more agency and complexity, but also explores how she influences others, much like Obi-Wan did for Luke. This shift in focus allows for more compelling storytelling, highlighting the full breadth of a character who, in the past, had been underutilized. Brooks's analysis of character evolution is underscored by the fact that, in contemporary Star Trek, characters are not static. They grow, change, and teach others. The influence of mentorship and wisdom, seen in the way Strange New Worlds approaches its characters, is a significant improvement over past portrayals, breathing new life into beloved icons like Uhura.